Hey guys, Crafter here, and today I am doing something else that is mostly for YouTube here today. If you were here last week, I did what I called the roll call, which is my fun little pun on uh, taking a school role and also voice actors. But today I'm going to be going over the anime Mirai, the anime movie Mirai, which isn't really much of a movie. It's much more of a it's like 5 short stories sort of thing. But I make sure I do my research when it comes to anime, even if it's anime movies. Anyways, our movie starts at it's a very narrow property. It's like a strip of land situation. It's like, and we get introduced to a couple that lives there through a photo collage of like both of they both love reading and they both do get into arguments. And with their throughout this collage, we get to see new family members added. The first family member is their puppy Yuko, which is quickly followed by the first pregnancy of Kun Uta. Yes, the last name of this family is the Uta family. And with the additions of Kun and Yuko, the couple decides to add an extension to the house, which it's a very cool extension. They decide to go extend the house all the way to the street, but they leave an open area for them to have a tree in the middle of like their house in like a yard area. And speaking of the streets, Kun's is looking out over it, waiting for his parents to get back home. When his current caregiver, which we learn later is one of his grandmas, like she's like, "Can you come and clean up the room?" And the grandma's cleaning the house, and Kun's grandma returns to see that Kun has not only not cleaned up, but has made the mess worse with a giant railway system. So that Kun is obsessed with trains in this. And it's like the grandma does the smart thing of like, hey, go play with Yuko. And like she's like cleaning up the entire room before Kun's mother returns. So while playing with Yuko, it starts snowing in the backyard, which isn't the wildest thing because it actually is. I think it was the right season for it to start snowing in the yard. But that's when Kun's parents get back with a new kid, and Kun wants to see her. His little sister wakes up staring at him. However, despite the fact that babies are not able to see color, like they're not able to see for the first week or so before developing color vision, which is actually mentioned in the movie, which is such a nice detail that it's like, I don't need to do this research. It's in the movie. So Kun's dad, or Atos-san, asks Kun for a name, and he thinks of Nozomi, which means hope, then Tsubame. However, both of them are actually names of bullet trains. Nomozi being the Nomozi Shinkansen, and Tsubame being the Tsubame Shinkansen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Tsubame correctly. Anyway, the next morning, Kun wakes up to his mother, Okasan, breastfeeding the baby. And Okasan is busy with breakfast due to the care the baby needs from Okasan. But Kun wants the attention of his mum. He's like just wanting the attention of his mum. Like, give me attention. And in all this process, like, two of them stop by to congratulate Akasan on the second baby, saying the second child is easier than the first. However, Akasan is going to be on a home parent lifestyle as Akasan, who her actual name is actually Yumi, so we have a name of a character. Woo! Is going right back to work right away due to another co-worker going on maternity leave soon. Huh. Imagine that. And Yumi is not a fan of how nice he makes himself appear to the other mothers, saying they see right through his act. Like, really? You gotta downtrodden like that? Yumi will be returned to work in March, meaning Oto-san will actually have to do housework and not just look like he can do housework. While this whole discussion is going on, Kun's just like wants to do stuff with his little sister, like teaching her the names of bugs and what clouds look like. But Yumi shoots the idea down because of how small she is. It's like, she is a small bean. And Kun decides to read a book called The Hag and the Moustache, transitioning it into the moustache, jumping on a train on the Yamanote line, a circular line that connects Tokyo's major city centers, and the hag chased the mustache on the Keihin line, which is a similar line to the Yamanote line. However, the two lost each other at Tababa Station, a station located in Kita, Tokyo. While Yumi is showing Atsa-san how to bottle feed the baby, in the background, a Christmas advent calendar confirms the date is December 22nd. But it doesn't confirm a year, so this is any year December 27th on this particular date. Although the date does not matter as much going forward, considering stuff skips along in the timeline. Also in the background, Kun is upset with the lack of attention he's getting from his parents. While Yumi shows her partner how to do laundry, Kun goes to his little sister to play with her face, and almost suffocates her with his finger. And this causes her to cry, bringing around Yumi's attention, and Kun says he can't be gentle with the baby, hitting her on the head with a toy train. Oh yeah, I momentarily forgot. Kun hits a little girl on the head with a train, like the baby. And Kun starts crying when Yumi pushes him out of the way to protect her baby, saying that the baby isn't his little sister and his mum is a hag. And I'm not saying that to be rude, it is actually terms used in this movie. Anyway, Kun, while crying, runs out into the yard and hears a voice. He turns his head to the right to find... Oh, actually, wait. No. I think it's like framed right, but it's actually left. I think I messed up there, but he's like turns his head left to see a castle courtyard and a man telling him that he's just jealous of his little sister. The man calls himself the prince of the house, but that was before Kun was born. Ever since Kun was born, his parents stopped paying attention to him, along with lesser quality products being given to him. The prince knows this will happen to Kun as well. finding the squeaky toy on the ground, Kun throws it for the prince to fetch as he figures out the prince is Yuko, the dog. Throwing the ball high into the air, Kun rips out the prince's tail and uses it on himself to become a human-dog hybrid and gets chased by the prince. Kun heads inside the house to run around inside, but both his parents see Kun as Yuko in some weird, like, magic of, like, he took Yuko's tail, so he became Yuko when he leaves the yard. Later on, Kun tries to explain that he was acting like Yuko and that Yuko wants some better dog food. And Atsu-san is like, oh yeah, let's just go and get you better dog food then. Which gets Yuko excited. Atsu-san gets another baby care lesson about how to bathe the baby. And after the bath, Yumi calls Atsu-san out for not helping raise Kun, to which he owns up to using his work as an architect as an excuse. Atsu-san hits some inspiration for the name of the baby, sending it to Yumi in a message to keep it secret. By the way, this is like the second segment of the movie. First segment was about Kun's jealousy. This second section is more about the baby's future, of which we learn the baby's name is Mirai, so it's about Mirai's future, which is funny because Mirai means future. Yumi and Atsu-san set up a Hinamatsuri set, which is an emperor and a princess in traditional court dress, for the Han period from 1794 to 1185. And for the upcoming holiday on, I thought it was originally March 3rd, but it also happens like in January as well. And this is mostly to pray for Mirai's health and happiness. Yumi's grandparents come by to give them a gift for Mirai, to take a video of Mirai for great-grandma, but Kun wants the video to be just about him. While taking the video, the grandparents find the birthmark on Mirai's hand. It looks like a bruise, but it's actually... Oh hey, hello Schleppy. You've caught me right in the middle of talking about an anime. Like, doing, like, my podcast here on Twitch to make recording YouTube stuff easier. Anyway, you've caught me just in the middle of, like, covering Mirai. I'm going to be continuing to talk about Mirai at the moment, because we're currently on a dinner scene where Yumi and her mum talk about great-grandpa's funeral and the history of how grandma and grandma got married because he won the foot race against her. I'm doing pretty well. I'm sort of in the middle of focusing. I'm sorry if that seems a bit rude, but I was like in the middle of. But yeah, have you seen the movie Mirai? Schleppy, have you seen the movie Mirai? It's perfectly fine if you haven't, but it's actually an interesting movie. Thanks for the follow, Schleppy. I don't have my alerts set up on this particular screen. I didn't think about that. I really gotta get that set up. but yeah, getting back to the movie notes I have here. Yeah, so like, Grandma and Grandma got married over a foot race. Or at least that's what Uncle Yamato told Yumi at the funeral. And on the topic of folklore stuff, the folklore of the dolls is brought up, saying that if they are put away late, it will lead to a late marriage in life of the girl in question, being a year for each day after the festival. Interesting. The next day, I don't know if I think it's the next day. Yumi has to rush to leave for a business trip, asking Otto-san to put away the Hinamazuri dolls. Otto-san, which means dad, struggles through the day, taking Kun to the daycare, accidentally breaking a plate while cleaning the dishes, and not understanding those annoying symbols on clothes for doing the washing. Why did we have to have so many symbols for washing clothes? After getting Kun from the daycare and getting Mirai to bed, Otto-san finally gets a chance to rest. Otto-san gets around to doing his architecture work when Kun comes over wanting to play. And when Kun realizes Otto-san doesn't want to play with him, he starts messing around with Mirai, placing cookies on her face for fun. Obviously, so Kun, when he gets bored of that, he decides to head outside once again. And the yard transforms into a jungle setting inside of a giant greenhouse building. And it's like, Kun follows a cookie trail like, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. And ends up running, Kun ends up running into an older Mirai, which he figures out by the birthmark on her hand. Future Mirai asks Kun to ask Otto-san to put away the dolls, to which Kun says no, because he and Mirai don't get along. To get Kun to work with her, Mirai pulls out the B-game, which is mostly just poking Kun a lot. So Kun's like, goes to his dad to ask him to put away the dolls, but he's unable to convince his dad to put away the dolls, and Kun's hands are too dirty to do it himself. So future Mirai is forced to sneak in and put the dolls away herself. However, future Mirai almost gets caught by her dad, again forcing an action of diving out the door back to the yard. Prince Yuko is also there, and he's there to note that baby Mirai disappeared and reappeared whenever future Mirai was in or out of the actual house. So there is some weird magic, like timeline magic going on, I guess. And future Mirai gets Prince Yuko to help with putting away the dolls correctly. And things almost fall apart quickly with Prince Yuko and future Mirai close to being caught by Otto-san. They get saved last second by Kun, and Prince Yuko and future Mirai almost complete putting away the dolls before Kun finishes in the bathroom. They discover the Emperor's baton is missing, and they realize the baton is stuck to the dad's pants. And recovering the baton, the doll set is fully put away, and future Mirai returns to her present. I love just the fact that I get to say future Mirai because I'm basically saying future. Otto-san remembers he forgot to put away the dolls, only to discover that they were put away. And like that's when Kun's like, I put away the dolls with help from Mirai and Yuko. Making sure to mention he met Mirai from the future. The night ends with Yumi and Kun saying they prefer baby Mirai right now. Which, yeah, you don't want someone to grow up too fast. Yumi and Kun sit down at a computer to look at early photos of Yumi's life, including her wedding. Moving over to a scrapbook. Oh, like, I remember that because, like, you look a lot more skinny back then or something like that. Moving over to a scrapbook though, Yumi shows Kun even earlier photos going all the way back to when Yumi was a child alongside her brother, Yoichi. Kun wants a bicycle for his birthday in the colour white. Upset, Kun almost hits Mirai in the head again, then dumps all his toys on the floor and draws his mum as a hag in his outburst. Stepping into the other, like the third segment. So like this third segment is about helping Kun understand his mum. And Kun is, although it wouldn't look like it at first, because Kun gets transported into the bottom of a body of water to have another conversation with future Mirai. Future Mirai is annoyed that Kun tried to hit baby Mirai with a bullet train again. But train expert Kun says the train was Super Cruiser, which is not a bullet train. Kun is upset he's not cute, unlike Yuko and baby Mirai, and swims up through the largest school of fish ever. It's like, it is so long and massive. This action spits Kun out into a random location in Japan, where he finds a little girl crying and tries to comfort her. Turning her head to Kun, he realizes that the girl is Kid Yumi, and follows her back to her grandma's house. Kid Yumi was like pretending to be sad while writing a note for her acting. Kid Yumi tries to befriend a stray cat, but the cat is too scared of her and runs away. On the way to Kid Yumi's house, she talks about how her little brother is a crybaby, and that she's glad he's a crybaby because that means she's more popular. Kun's starting location of being underwater seems to be in the fish tank at Kid Yumi's house, so we actually see like it's the same fish, the same type of tank. And it's interesting how we get that sort of addition in this. Kid Yumi prefers things to get messy, even with food, which shocks Kun, and he agrees with her. Kun and Kid Yumi run around her house, ripping the books out of the shelves, pulling the clothes off the clothesline, and other messy things, like opening the fridge, just knocking over a pot to release dirt everywhere. It's like, how messy can you get? Kid Yumi keeps Kun out of trouble by pushing him out the back door, but Kun overhears Kid Yumi getting scolded by her mum. So, there's sort of two lessons in this segment of the movie of understanding her mum was the same as him, and also how he get. Also, another thing that happens later. But yeah, Yumi tucks Kun back into bed, back in the present, and Yumi and her mum talk about how Yumi didn't get a cat when she was a kid. Yumi only really got into the habit of picking up after herself after she got married, of course. She worries she's not being a good mum due to her temper and bad work-life balance. Also, Kun uses the idea of his mum's, the letter in the mum's shoe from Kid Yumi to ask for a bicycle, which works, and Understand considers using that idea too. What would he use that idea for? I do not know. Maybe more adult things. Yeah. And seeing the other kids riding their bikes without training wheels, Kun asks his dad to take off his training wheels. Even after many attempts, Kun finds it too scary. The other kids offer to help teach Kun how to ride a bike, which Atsusan is happy to allow due to Mirai's crying, but it upsets Kun, and the other kids around him are like, "Are you okay, mate?" Because like Kun starts crying because he's not getting attention, but it's also like he can't ride the bike. And so this is what leads into basically segment number 4 of this movie. Because like Kun like runs back, like once they get home, Kun runs back into the yard again. And at the same time, Miro slaps their hand on a picture of great grandpa. And like Kun's like taking off his helmet and all this and throws it on the ground. And the ground rumbles. His bike helmet transforms into an old-fashioned, like the old-fashioned like leather pilot helmet with like the goggles. And Kun gets blown away into the past by a plane propeller. The past of his great-grandpa. Although he doesn't realize it's his great-grandpa until much later, like after everything has happened. His great-grandpa offers Kun a ride on his motorbike, saying there's a first time for everything. Kun's like, nah, I'm scared. Like, I did say, like, that Kun notices that this guy that he's talking to has a bad leg, but he doesn't realize it's his great-grandpa, actually. But it's like, it's one piece of evidence in that. But like, Kun follows his grandpa to a barn, and Kun gets to see a horse for the first time in his life, which surprises his great-grandpa. Which, I think, Sanen is the word from the roll call. After mounting a horse, Kun is scooped up by his great-grandpa to ride a horse for the first time. Telling Kun to look forward instead of down, Kun is amazed by the view. And once Kun is not scared by the horse, his great-grandpa speeds up the pace to a gallop, and then a run. This leads into a transition of the two riding the motorbike, and like the motorbike has like a horse painted on it, which is such a cool detail. It's like you transition from walk to gallop to run to motorbike. Like, and Kun's not really scared, like not as scared of the bike anymore. And his great-grandpa explains that the trick to riding is the same for everything. Once you master one, you master them all. Which, I mean, a bike is very different from a motorbike. And a horse. A horse, all you need to do is hop on, hold on to the reins, and make sure you don't hurt the horse too much. With a bike, it's just you pedal the wheel, like you pedal the pedals. A bike, you have to operate the clutch. Yeah, like you have to know what you're doing with a motorbike. After that amazing journey, Kun is determined to ride his bike and takes his lessons from his great-grandpa to successfully ride his bicycle using the old building to focus on, much like his journey in the past. So the building in question is there in the past, on the horizon, when he's like riding the horse with his grandpa, and then like it's the same building but from the side, which is very cool. It's like That's a cool way of like figuring out where characters live at points of history. Back at home, Kun finds a picture of his great grandpa, thinking it was Dad, but he learns it was actually his grandpa. Now, for the final segment, which is I think the longest segment of this movie, because they're preparing for a day out, and Kun wants to wear his yellow pants, but they're in the laundry. Since Kun isn't getting his way, he runs off to the bathroom to solve cold, hiding in the bathtub, only to change his mind and hide in his parents' closet. However, he learns that his parents left him behind with his railway setup, and Kun decides to pack a bag in order to run away, and he packs a juice box, a banana. Before he's able to get down the stairs to leave the property, Kun is suddenly transported to a train station. And a teenager is at this station, scolding him for his complaining and selfish wants over pants. Kun isn't getting the lesson at all though, saying his pants are more important. And they're like, not. There's just a lot of not. And like a train arrives and Kun gets on. This train is going from Isugawa to Sugita station. However, this train is not going to go there. It's actually going to go the other way. Because that makes sense. I spent a while just going over the train lines of Japan. For no reason, just follow the train lines of Japan around Japan. On the way to Sugita Station, which somehow ends up being Tokyo Station in the end, Kun spots many trains he recognizes before finally spotting an evil-looking train above the rest. Which, this is actually tying into, like, Kun's obsession with trains, the train system that he had built in the house that goes to multiple floors and stuff like that. And getting off the train, Kun continues to marvel at the many trains and goes to board a Shinkansen train, but is stopped by a barrier to the nose. It's like... Wanting to now go home, Kun sees two moments of a parent and child reuniting and wants that for himself. Kun thinks he sees his dad calling out to him, only to find out that they're like wide-eyed versions of, like, it's a wide-eyed version of the son. It's like, with like the straight wide mouth. It's like, I cannot do the face because those eyes are wild AF. And he also sees a row of Yumis, and yes, I am wording it like that because it's plural. And he calls out to them, but they're also wide-eyed versions of Yumi. The middle reserved for the horrifying hag version of Yumi that Kun likes to call her so many times. So Kun heads to the lost and found line and reports himself as lost, but the concierge sees it as Kun has lost himself. The concierge asks Kun multiple questions. Kun is able to answer, "What is your name?" which is Kun, but then Kun fails, "What's your mother's name?" Yumi. "What's your father's name?" We don't know that. And the name of another family member, Mirai, or Yuko. Although Yuko does not count. Since Kun fails to remember any of his family, including Mirai, Kun will have to take a special bullet train to Lowly Land. Whoop whoop. The train arrives and opens its doors to suck Kun onto the train, even if he doesn't want to get on the train. He suddenly forgets his own name, saying he's Mum's child, he's Dad's child, he's in charge of feeding Yuko. He says his mum is not good at cleaning the house, and his dad's not good at holding Mirai. Hearing baby Mirai, he sees her crawling along the platform, and almost gets sucked into the train before he manages to tackle Mirai to safety. Like, this action and calling out that he's Mirai's big brother saves Kun from the train's clutches. And they fly out of Tokyo Station. Like, future Mirai comes to Kun's save Kun, and they fly out of Tokyo Station, and which turns into freefall right into the tree that they have in their yard, which is actually the entire catalogue of the Uta family, past, present, and future. In one of those leaves it shows their dad learning how to ride a bike, like Kun was earlier, failing easily. In another leaf, we get to see Yuko and his mum in both human and dog forms, as Yuko leaves his mum to live with the Uta family. We get shown many more leads. We get to shown Yumi holding a baby swallow that got harmed by a stray cat, the accident leading to their great grandpa's leg injury, and the foot race between great grandma and great grandpa, and that great grandma actually let him win. We actually get an answer to that folklore. All this timeline travel leads back to the bird's eye view of the Otter household, revealing the teenager from earlier was actually Kun himself. And with that revelation, Kun returns back to his present, to the driver tossing out his yellow pants. But Kun is like, it's pants, who cares anymore? Like, who cares anymore about pants? And while packing the car, Kun's parents talk about how different they are now compared to before Kun was born, and realizing they don't need to be perfect for the kids. Kun shares a banana with Mirai and catches Mirai copy his actions, like the whole noises and stuff like that. That was actually very short. Because that's the end of my notes, because that's where the movie ends. We get some pictures during the end credits. There's just moments from the movie. And the next anime that will be covered here is going to be Erased. Another time travel sort of movie. Show. I am looking forward to covering that. Although next week will be the roll call video for it. Anyways, I'm gonna end this segment here. And for YouTube, links in the description to both the channels and to Twitch.